and welcome back to the show. Youth Action, Youth Build is an organization that's dedicated to creating a community of young adults committing to take responsibility of their own lives. Now, it also deals with improving the larger community, and from its base in East Harlem, Youth Action's primary mission is to provide education, training, and leadership opportunities to low-income young adults while also engaging them in the creation of affordable housing. Here now with more details, we've got the YouthBuild Executive Director, Robert T. Taylor, and then also Workforce Programs Coordinator, Moses Mcbride. And gentlemen, good to have you.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, and so I'll start off first, and I'll ask, Robert, if you want to share a little bit more. For those that may not know a little bit more about YouthBuild, Youth Action, take it away.
Okay. So Youth Action, Youth Build, we have been around since 1978. We were founded in the East Harlem area. Our founder is a woman named Dorothy Stoneman, who was a school teacher working in the in East Harlem in the early 70s, and was really concerned about sort of the conditioning of the neighborhoods and the abandoned buildings and the urban blight. And she would talk to the young people and ask, if you could change the world, what would you do? And their response was, we would like to reclaim the housing in our area. And through that sort of impulse, Dorothy worked with these students to obtain abandoned tenements in East Harlem, where they then refurbished them and actually turned them into the low-income housing that we have today. So through that work, we were able to secure about 13 buildings in East Harlem. There's about 124 units that are to this day dedicated to families coming out of the shelter system, and some for folks living with HIV and AIDS. The other aspect of that work was that initiative generated a program model where we could work with young people who were not yet completing their high school education, help them gain some vocational skills that could lead to life-sustaining work, and also contribute positively to the community. And that's how the YouthBuild program came into being. We were the first YouthBuild program. We have since been replicated across the United States. There are about 286 YouthBuild programs in the United States, and it's also been replicated in 13 other countries. And so we consider ourselves a movement that are really looking at supporting what we call opportunity youth. These are young people who are looking for opportunities to advance their lives, but they also represent an opportunity for the community to develop leaders that otherwise would have been overlooked. And so our programming is really designed to provide pathways of success for young people that will result in life-sustaining career pathways. We currently offer training in construction skills, as well as food sector jobs, and jobs supporting building operations. And this is managing the efficiency of buildings. And we have a new pathway that we're opening up this summer, where we're going to train young people from across Harlem in the South Bronx to be network technicians. And these will be folks who are building the 5G wireless infrastructure across New York City. And these will be great jobs that will be evolving and become more and more in demand as broadband infrastructure is created across New York City. So we're excited about all of that.
Yeah. And let me bring Moses in and have a little conversation with him, because when we talk about workforce development, as Robert has said, really preparing people for the workplace and preparing young people for the workplace. For you, can you share a little bit more about how you're engaging in helping people be more prepared for the workplace?
Thank you, Daren. One of the things is that we acknowledge that young people need to have the skills capable to compete in today's market. And so when we design workforce programs, we're always looking at what is it that young people need the most in order to easily assimilate into the workforce that they may not have any experience with. They may come from families who haven't had that experience or examples to give them. And so we provide them with education about what the interview process might look like, some questions that are very important to answer. We talk about etiquette. We talk about perspective. How do you view yourself in relation to employers in the world? Where do you place value at? And a lot of times we want to start there with them acknowledging that they have value. And then from that point, we build up to employing these skills that's necessary for them to compete and also to obtain employment. So our workforce program, it starts off a little bit with work readiness. Work readiness is interviewing skills, interview preparation, resume development. We also do personal development. We want to make sure that individuals understand that part of their professional development is also to acknowledge that they have skill sets that may not be on paper, right? They may not acquire those through training, but they do have soft skills that they can actually translate into employment. But on top of that, our hard skills training is very important to workforce development. We talk about those skill sets when Robert was explaining some of the certifications and some of the process of rehabbing buildings. That's the skill building aspect of our work readiness program. And it proves to be very successful with young people. They get a chance to have some hands-on training, some hands-on skills, and they learn about something that they see every day, which is a lot of the construction, a lot of the tenement buildings that people are living in their ability to kind of help keep them and maintain them in a pristine and clean way.
Yeah, I know when you talk about serving the underserved community, one of the things that you have is a low-income housing program. I'd love to hear a little bit more about that and how that's actually benefiting our young people.
Yes, so the low-income housing program, as I said, is sort of part of the whole and how we actually became a youth development organization by working with young people to recapture housing and then preserve it. So in our heyday, we were doing, rehabs of abandoned buildings. That has since now turned into preservation of low-income housing, because the truth of the matter is securing buildings in New York City is, it's outside of our affordability. It's very expensive to get land now. So we work on preserving the units that we have and partnering with other low-income housing operators in the area, such as Taino Towers, which is a large low-income housing development, where our students are gaining hands-on skills, doing apartment rehabs, turnovers when people move out, redesigning, weatherization, and those kind of things. So the apartments themselves are primarily benefiting folks who are coming out of the shelter system, are formerly homeless, or have HIV and AIDS diagnoses. And our portfolio is pretty limited. We have about 124 units with a long waiting list. But the way that the young people themselves benefit is by doing the actual turnover work, gaining the work experience, being connected to potential employers who can hire them as building workers, and then also contributing to their own neighborhoods by having, by supporting this low-income resource that is becoming more and more rare in New York City.
Yes.
Yeah. And Moses, before we go, just share with us a little bit about the impact that you guys are having, because when you give these young people the skills, obviously it translates into a workplace environment. And I know you got some great success stories.
Yes, one of the things is that we partner with many of the local businesses that you see in the area. We're located between 2nd and 3rd Avenue on 118th Street in East Harlem. And so, our impact is usually shown by the fact that many of our placements are in an area that we visit every day. We're able to walk into some of the places and see our former alumni students working there. Just recently, one of the biggest successes, I think, is working with Dan's Super Nice Bakery. We're being able to place one of our young people there to get experience in the baking industry, but not only that, but just being able to understand the operations of business. They get a hands-on experience there. And I think that, these kind of partnerships that we're building to place young people in the local community reflects the kind of successes that we are looking for. We want our young people to feel a part of the communities that they grew up in, and also see that there's opportunity in those communities as well. And so, our biggest success stories is just being able to walk down these local areas and see our young people working in the industries that they know and recognize.
Yeah. Well, Moses, Robert, definitely want to thank you both for being with us here on the show. You're doing a great job of really impacting the lives of young people and positioning them for future success, and that's what we need. And sometimes, all it takes is an opportunity for them to be able to turn their life around and get that start that they actually need. You guys are providing it. Thank you both for being with us here on
Just
Open.
A quick plug,
Thank you for having us.
we are recruiting for our new cohort. And so if there is a young person in the audience between the ages of 17 and 24 who does not yet have their high school diploma or is looking for a pathway to a job, come give us a call. It's www.youthaction.nyc. You can learn more about how to apply for the program.
We accept that plug, brother. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.
All righty, listen, want to let you know again now, if you want more information about the program, what you can do, again, visit their website and follow them on social media, the website youthaction.nyc, and then also on social media at YA YouthBuild, YA YouthBuild.